One of the most important effects that we have available to us as electric string players is reverb. What the heck is reverb? Reverb is that long trail of sound after your original signal. And it's a thing that if you've ever played in a concert hall or a church or a cathedral or even like a bathroom or a big hard stairwell, you've experienced reverb. You've walked out of there going, man, my violin sounded amazing. The acoustics in that room are great. What you meant was the reverb in that room was great. If you walked in there and clapped your hands, you would hear this long trail of sound after your original signal. And what that does is it makes your instrument sound bigger. It makes it sound like it's in that wonderful space, and it actually sort of covers up a couple little things that might be coming off your instrument that maybe weren't perfect. You're like, man, I sounded like I'm an amazing player. Yeah. Well, you know, that reverb can help wash a few things out. And we can, electronically, we can put reverb on our signal that, yeah, you can wash all that stuff out if you really want to. If we're clever about it, we can make our instrument sound really good without losing the distinctness of what we're trying to do. It doesn't sound like we're playing at the bottom of a well. We did a previous video called Reverb as a Creative Tool that you can find either on our YouTube channel. I'll put up a link here, or you can find it on our Facebook Live. It was done back in March of this year. And in that video, we interviewed a couple of artists who use reverb as a creative tool, and we talked about some of the parameters that you can get into in reverb. If you're wanting something a little more basic, maybe you're sort of a beginner to this, we have a video called Reverb and Delay in our From Classical to Radical series on our YouTube channel, and I'm going to put up a link to that video as well. In our previous video, we did talk about some types of reverb, some examples, some creative uses, and a bunch of different parameters. But I promised to discuss a few other things. I said, well, I'm going to do a video later where we're going to talk about these 4 things here. Well, it's later now. So this is that video that I promised you. We really like the Ocean's 11 pedal. It's an electro-harmonics pedal. It's got 11 different reverbs in it, hence the name. And so I'm going to talk about this pedal a little bit as I'm discussing these parameters that I told you I would tell you about. The first one, however, PreDelay, is one that this pedal and most pedals do not have. So if you're using pedals, this PreDelay thing, I don't really know what that is. You don't need to know. Your pedal probably doesn't have it anyway. But if you're doing reverb in your DAW, in your digital audio workstation, say you're using Pro Tools or you're using Logic or something, and there's a reverb plugin, you will see a knob for PreDelay. And what PreDelay is how long before the reverb starts. And we just got to think about that as, say I'm in a big room that's got this big reverby sound in it. How far away from me do I want the person to sound like they are? If I have a long PreDelay, what that does is it pulls me forward in the mix. So it means that it's going to be 30 or 40 or 50 milliseconds before the reverb kicks in. Okay, now think about the fact the speed of sound is about a foot per millisecond. So what it means is if I've got a 30 millisecond sound, it's almost like I'm standing 30 feet in front of that room that my sound is reverberating in, right? So what a PreDelay does is allows your dry signal, your distinct signal to come through before that reverb starts washing. And you won't really hear a delay. 30 milliseconds is too short for your brain to really hear a delay. But what it will feel like is that you've pulled forward your original signal from that reverb, and it's going to clean it up a little bit. If you have the ability to use PreDelay, PreDelay can clean up your sound a little bit. The next thing we talked about was mix, and that is how loud the reverb is. In the Ocean's 11 pedal, it's right here. It's the effects level. So I can turn up the reverb itself. My dry signal is going to be coming through, but the reverb itself can be louder or quieter. That's a really handy thing to do. So we would say that would be more reverb or less yeah, hey, I need more reverb, I'm going to turn up the effects level or the mix, depending on how they label that button. And what that's going to do is I've got my dry signal, and then the reverb signal is getting louder or quieter in relation to that. The next one is decay, and that's how long that reverb lasts. On this pedal, it'll be a thing called time. So we can make that reverb really short or really long. So it's if you're in a room, remember you clap your hand, you hear it go, "Pow." It's how long that lasts. It could either be "Pow," or it could be "Pow." That's really fun to do, but I'm not going to do it again. Okay. So that is your decay or your time. The next one is a high or low cut. On this pedal, it's called tone. And what this will do is if we turn the tone down, that means that room is going to sound like it's a little darker. Or if I turn it up, it's going to make it sound like the room is a little brighter. Imagine that I've got a room with like a lot of leather and stuff in it. That room is going to have a darker sound when I clap my hands than if it's a room with a lot of glass or metal in it. So that's sort of, your ear is going to hear a difference between like a or a. I said I wasn't going to do it again, but I lied. Dang it. All right. So those are some of the parameters that we promised we would talk to you about. I hope that you understand a little bit better about how reverb works as a basic function, and that you are a little less intimidated to start dialing in the reverb on your violin or cello or viola or upright bass or clarinet. We're not mad at clarinet players. You can hang out. It's cool.